Nathan, Team Cap, good choices. Don't do drugs.
It's finally here! Captain America Civil War premieres tonight. Going to the premiere with plenty of people. It's gonna be amazing. I'm super pumped. I'm all ready. Team Cap. More footage to come.
They think order and chaos are somehow opposites and try to control what won't. But there is grace in their faith. I think you missed that. They're doomed. But a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's a privilege to be mine. You're unbearably naive. Well, I was born yesterday.
Second chances don't come around all that much.
I figured why not? It is right before Civil War. Look at that. It looks horrible. You can't see anything.
I still have mine.
Dude, you're full. Alright guys, so it is the next day. I'm gonna get right into the review and then we're gonna talk about spoilers towards the end, but right now I'm just gonna say this movie was phenomenal. It really was. I enjoyed it thoroughly throughout everything. Like, I loved everything about this. The politics, the action sequences, just the character moments, everything. And everybody gets a character moment. Everything's great. It's a beautiful film, I have to say. And this film works as a sequel to two films. It is, while in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is about the 14th film, this is serving as a sequel to Avengers Age of Ultron, but it's mostly serving as a sequel to Captain America the Winter Soldier. I don't want to get into spoilers yet. I don't want to name scenes in case you want to just go out and see it fresh-minded. Maybe you haven't seen some certain trailers, which understandable. So I'm just going to say this movie is well worth the money. It really is. I really recommend you see it on the big screen, specifically for the amazing action sequence that takes place in the middle of the film. It's a spectacular, huge brawl, and it's just such an incredibly entertaining fight, and this whole movie is incredibly entertaining. The character moments, Captain America, and this movie does serve as a Captain America film, as the title says, Captain America Civil War. The Civil War is a major part of the film, but throughout it all, it's mostly a Captain America film. So you're going to get a lot of moments with Captain America and him dealing with his past as well as his present, but you also get time with the other characters because of the Civil War that's going on. And it's a really interesting way they tell the story. Many different things unfold, and I don't believe there's a single dull moment. I feel like every scene works for the story. And okay, so I have to talk that they introduced two new characters in this film. We got Black Panther and Spider-Man. I'm gonna talk about Black Panther first. Black Panther, T'Challa, was great in this. This was a great introduction to his character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I really believe they served him well in this story. The way he becomes Black Panther, and as well as the way he looks and fights, and he is just a very interesting character, and I cannot wait for his solo film in It's either next year or 2018, but I am very much looking forward to it. So, if you're a fan of Black Panther, you won't be disappointed, I promise. But now we're going to talk about Spider-Man, my all-time favorite superhero. I gotta say, this new actor, Tom Holland, who's taking the reins of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he did such an amazing job in this film. He's not in it for very long, but when he is, you're loving every second of it. It's really fantastic. Now, as somebody who loved Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, and also loved even more Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, I believe this was the best Spider-Man we've ever had. And please listen to me when I say, I am not saying that just because it's a new iteration and just like new is better and everything. That's not always the case. I don't want you to think that I'm just jumping on like whatever's new and whatever's like in the now. I genuinely believe this actor is the best Spider-Man we've had, because, you know, you may be watching like, why does he seem like such a little kid? It's because he is, because that's what Peter Parker was. This Peter Parker is a 15-year-old high school freshman, and you have to understand that in the comics, it was the same principle. Peter Parker, a little kid, and he got powers. Andrew Garfield, yeah, he was playing a high schooler, but he was 29 when they filmed it. And Tobey Maguire, I think he was 23 or 24 when he filmed the first Spider-Man. So the fact that they actually got a younger actor who is 19, so that's not too far off, and you can fit that age range, it's really good. And I'm always amazed that British actors can do American accents so well, because Tom Holland is British, but he pulled off a high schooler from Queens very well. So, also, the way the suit looks, how he gets it, really cool. And just the way he moves and speaks and fights, it's amazing. And this is his first introduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was very well done. I'm very much looking forward to his solo film as well, coming out next year. So, all in all, guys, Captain America Civil War is a well-deserved sequel to not just The Winter Soldier or Age of Ultron, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general. I highly recommend you go see it. I'm trying to be as consistently talking and flowing as I can, which I think I've been doing pretty well. I'm almost out of breath. But now we're going to get into spoilers, but before I do that, I'm going to give my overall rating of this film. I have a rating system that goes up to 4 stars, and I gotta give this film 4 stars. It was such an incredible experience with fans all around. It was a really fun time. I didn't care how hot the theater was. I was just enthralled in the film and enjoying myself as I do every Marvel premiere, and this was so fun. And there weren't a lot of like, oh wow, ah, haha, clap in this one, because it was mainly a lot of dramatic sequences, but they worked very well because you care so much for these characters. Again, this is the like 14th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so you know these characters, you know them all. And I do have to go ahead and address that with Batman v Superman, this is definitely what they should have done. They should have waited to make that film after establishing what they had. Now, I loved Batman v Superman. I need to throw it out there. I loved the film. I enjoyed it. I recognize its problems, but I still enjoyed it. But this shows how you should have went about a hero fighting another hero. So, that's it for the non-spoilers. Getting to spoilers. Right now, I'm going to start with the beginning of the film, which was the kickoff of the Civil War, which was Captain America, Black Widow, Falcon, and Scarlet Witch are taking down the villain Crossbones, who was, I forget his dude's name, I'm sorry, it's the Hydra agent dude who was fighting Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then the building fell on him and crushed him. Rumlow was his name. And so he's like really angry at Cap, so he's fighting to kill Cap, and he's got a bomb on him, and he's like, okay, there's only one way out. I'm gonna have to die, but I'm taking Captain America with me. He blows up the bomb, but Scarlet Witch contains Rumlow in that bomb and lifts him up in the air as it's exploding, but it doesn't get as far, and it explodes right into a hospital full of innocent people, and that was similar to how it played out in the comics of Civil War. Was a group of young superhero crime fighters were going up against villains way out of their league, and in the end, they ended up blowing up a elementary school. So that was a cool way they mirrored that in the comics. I thought that was a really good thing that they did, and when it did happen, I was like, oh my god, this is the kickoff of the Civil War. I recognize this, and when it happens, it's like they're destroyed. They really are. They're like, oh god, we need evac, we need help, we need support, help now, calling in backup, and they're just like, oh my god, what has happened? And then when that hits, it's all done. They got to get into the politics of crime fighting, and so they introduced the Sokovia Accords, Sokovia being the major city that Ultron destroyed at the end of Age of Ultron. They just sorry, I'm trying to be as much on a roll as I can. 9 minutes in. They laid us down the rules that, okay, look, you guys can't go willy-nilly just going all out on your own. You have to handle this by our standards. You cannot leave and go out to fight crime unless we approve the initiative to do so and tell you where to go and how to do it. But Captain America doesn't believe that's how it should be. He believes the safest hands are still in with the heroes, that if they need to make a call and they need to go a place, they need to be able to make the ones to make that call, because what if they're disapproved to do so? So sides are split. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Sides are split, and it's just boiling down to, okay, Captain America is going after Bucky, who was pinned for a bombing at the United Nations, which leads to the death of Black Panther's father. That was an interesting way of making T'Challa, the Black Panther, the now king of Wakanda, and taking up the mantle of the Black Panther. Maybe he already was, I'm not sure, but he most certainly is now, and he's freaking awesome. His claws and everything, really cool. Now, I gotta go ahead and say that there is a villain in this, but he's not really so much as a villain per se, as much as just a victim who wants justice for what's happened to him. His name is Baron Zemo, and, well, at least that's his comic book name. I know Zemo's in the name. He had a family in Sokovia that was destroyed by the Avengers, and there were like 177 casualties that day, and so he wants to do as much manipulation as he can to get the Avengers to kill one another. This is actually very similar to Batman v Superman. Spoilers for Batman v Superman, where Lex Luthor wanted Superman to kill Batman, or Batman to kill Superman, basically kill themselves, for reasons I do not remember, but Baron Zemo had very good reason. It's because, hey, you killed my family, I'm going to kill your family. Because the Avengers are basically a family. They really are. They are a group of people who fight with each other, have developed relations with each other, and genuinely have a love for one another. Even Captain America and Iron Man, they had such a good friendship, and they left Age of Ultron good friends. So the fact that they get broken up is very tugging at your heartstrings, and it's just depressing. Well, I wouldn't say depressing, it's tragic. It's tragic, and you don't want to see it happen, but at the same time you do, because the spectacle looks cool. But in doing so, it's very, very emotional. It's emotional. So there's a 17-minute sequence specifically shot for on IMAX cameras, so like the screen where it has the black bars up and down, it expanded, so the screen got even bigger in the IMAX form, because I went to see this in IMAX 3D, as you saw. And oh my god, this sequence, right before then, Tony Stark recruited Peter Parker Spider-Man, because he's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna look into this web slinger going around New York. And the introduction to Peter Parker is phenomenal. Freaking phenomenal. You get to see Aunt May, and he's talking with Tony Stark. That's intriguing enough. But seeing Tony Stark and Peter Parker for the first time ever on the big screen interacting with one another is mind-blowingly beautiful. It really is. And it's just something that you have to see to appreciate. I mean, you probably appreciate it anyway, but to see it is its own form of awesomeness that you just have to see, because it's not in any of the trailers. There's only right now a couple things with Spider-Man. It's just the second trailer and a TV spot, which I didn't watch because I wanted to wait for the film, because I knew Spider-Man wasn't in this enough. And yeah, Spider-Man's only in this for about 30 minutes out of the 2 hours and 27-minute runtime. So Tony recruits Spider-Man, and now they're all at the airport. They're evacuating the airport, and a huge fight ensues. And actually, Captain America's team recruited Ant-Man. That's awesome. And so just you have all this, pretty much all the superpower beings in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that have been featured in the films, minus Hulk and Thor. And they're just having a humongous 17-minute clash with humor. There's humor in the fight, and that is so amazing to have. Like, you're having an emotional fight between hero and hero, and they're throwing in like one-liners and stuff, and they're laughing about it and stuff, and it's really cool, and it's just a really amazing thing. Now, let's get into the couple things that were amazing in this fight. I mean, everybody was amazing, especially Black Panther with his claws fighting off people. But okay, we're gonna talk about Spider-Man. Spider-Man was really cool, seeing him swing around and do his different flips and kicks and everything. That was awesome, and the fact that he acts like he is his age, his teenager. It's like the Winter Soldier goes to punch him, and he catches it, and he's like, "Whoa, you have a metal arm? That is so cool!" And that is just awesome. And one of my favorite things Spider-Man did was he made a Star Wars reference while fighting, which I'll get into after I explain the second big thing of this fight. Ant-Man is like, "Okay guys, I have a window, I have something huge that I can do, but you guys gotta get out of the way, you have a limited amount of time, I'll handle this." And so he just recalibrates something on his arm, and he's running, and he hits not his shrink button, but the grow button, and just boom, he's went from Ant-Man to Giant Man. It's just like that, and it's so cool. Theater applauded. It's really fun. And he's just going all around. He grabs War Machine mid-air, and he's just like throwing him, and Spider-Man like jumps up and webs War Machine to slow him down, and just like breaks onto a truck before he crashes into a plane. And the fact that it takes place at an airport, there is so much mega awesomeness of a fight scene that happens, and so many possibilities you can do. I mean, Ant-Man shrinks a truck, and he hands it to Captain America, and he says, "Okay, throw it at this," and it's one of the growth discs, so Ant-Man throws it, Captain America throws it, and then just boom, the truck goes full size again, coming straight at War Machine. War Machine's like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me," and then it explodes on War Machine, just in a huge ball of fire, this gasoline truck, and Ant-Man's like, "Oh, I thought it was a water truck." It's just the humor, man, the humor. It's so awesome to see these heroes clashing. It's really, really cool. Vision in this movie, I gotta say, he was really good. You can see that he's developing more in humanity. I really felt he was developing emotions for Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, because, you know, in the comics they are a romantic involvement, so I feel like they were developing feelings for one another, at least Vision was. And so he gets distracted towards the end of the airport fight, and he's getting ready to shoot down Falcon, who's in pursuit of War Machine. So it's like, "Hey, I need help here," says War Machine. So Vision shoots the Mind Gem beam at Falcon, and he just takes a dive and dodges it, and it hits Rhodey straight into the arc reactor, and now he's just fallen dead. He's not dead. I'm saying his suit's dead. He's falling, he's just free falling in just huge metal armor, so he's probably falling pretty fast. So, you know, Iron Man's like, oh god, I gotta go save him. And even Falcon's like, oh god, no. Even Falcon, who's on the opposite side, is like, okay, I can't let this dude die. So he's just going down, and they're both coming down, trying to get him. The Rhodey hit right as they got there. So, you know, Tony looks, and Rhodey is not only down for the count, but by the end of this, he's paralyzed. He is paralyzed from the waist down. He has he's wearing this pair of legs that Tony developed to just help him with walking, and, you know, he's struggling to use it. So, for the meantime, War Machine, his legs aren't working, but I feel like he can still use the War Machine armor to help him walk. That was an interesting point another review pointed out to me, is that, yeah, he could use the War Machine armor to walk. So he's not going to be completely 100% out of it, but when he is Colonel James Rhodes, I think you will be seeing him in a wheelchair in future films to come. So the big sequence was amazing at the airport. Get towards the, what is it, you get to, there's so much that happens. We're just gonna jump to the end. Now, this movie started off with a mission from the Winter Soldier in 1991, and he took out a car. I already figured out what happened, but that's nothing against the film. It still delivered an emotional punch that you get towards the end, which is Baron Zemo exposed that the Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents. Now, Tony is watching this on a screen, and he's just like, oh my god, what? And, you know, he sees his dad get just pummeled with Bucky's metal arm over and over, and he's just like, oh god, that's painful to watch. But he already had very bad blood with his father, even though he did love him. So it was just like, oh god, I can't bear to know that that happened. But it gets exponentially worse when Bucky grabs his mother by the throat, and you don't see what he does, but you know Tony's freaking terrified, and he's just like, oh my god. So he just straight looks at Captain America like, did you know? Did you know this happened? And if you saw the Winter Soldier, and when they were in that bunker and they were going through the different Hydra things that happened throughout history, you saw that there was a report of Stark's parents in a car crash, and they're showing clips of the Winter Soldier. So yes, Captain America did know. He knew this, and now it's being out here. It's like, did you know? Yes. And just, that's Iron Man's last straw. He went there to try to be friends with Captain America once again, but that's no longer happening. And then they just go at it in one final emotional fight that's such, once again, it's a very much a tragedy to see this friendship fall apart. And it just ends with just everybody's beaten down and tired. Bucky loses an arm because of Tony. It's the metal arm, but still he loses an arm. They walk off. Tony's suit is down, and Tony yells at him, "That shield doesn't belong to you. You don't deserve it. My father made that shield." And that just stops Captain America, and he just drops the shield and walks away. I don't think that necessarily means he's done being Captain America with the shield. No, I think he'll get a new shield in future films to come. But actually, I'll get into that when I talk about the end credit scenes. But yeah, everybody's just down for the count. Ant-Man, Scarlet Witch, and Falcon, and Hawkeye, they are in the maximum security prison that Tony built. And that sucks. But you get to see that Captain America breaks him out, and he writes to Tony that, okay, hey, I know what happened was horrible, but you have to understand this and this. And I believe Tony does end up understanding. And so I don't believe this is permanently the end of the Avengers. But until the next Avengers movie, Infinity War Part 1, in 2018, I believe we're going to see a major separation of the team, and they'll come back together when the crisis of the Infinity War brings them to be. So I would say that the Avengers are, like, the legal Avengers are going to be with the government working in the Civil War Act, which in the comics did take place, did happen. So what I think the Avengers lineup is going to be is Iron Man, War Machine, Vision, and I think that's the only really 3 confirmed. Maybe Spider-Man as well. That'd be cool to see. So, yeah, I think that is it. So, let's talk about the end credit scenes. First end credit scene was for Black Panther. You see Captain America, and he's saying goodbye to Bucky. Bucky's like, look, my brain can't be trusted. I didn't touch on that in this review, but if you're watching spoilers, you understand what happened. So, he goes into cryo freezing, as he's done so many times. So, that's understandable. It's like, hey, I don't trust my mind, I can't do this. Look at my cat out the window. So, he goes under, and Captain America's like, thank you for understanding, and, you know, Black Panther's like, okay, it's alright, I completely understand. I understand where you come from. You're a respectable man, Steve Rogers. And it just, like, pans out, and you go over, and it's like they're in a jungle, in a facility. And it's a very scientific facility, and Wakanda is one of the most technologically advanced places in the world. So it makes sense, but you pan out, and it's the jungle, and you just see a giant stone carving of the Black Panther, of a Black Panther. And then it cuts off, and it's like, alright, awesome, Black Panther. So that makes me think, is Captain America going to be in the Black Panther movie? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a formation, like, since they have vibranium, which is what Captain America's shield's made out of, it'd be cool to see Captain America with his shield again, or maybe even a different shield. Sometimes he has different shaped shields, like that weird shaped one, triangular type from the originals, or some other shape. It could be anything, but, you know, I would prefer to have the original shield once again. And since he's not completely bad blood with Tony as much as a few minutes prior, I think he might be able to get the shield back. But now we're gonna jump into the second end credit scene, and that's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is just, like, it's after everything, and he's got the huge black eye, and he's just like, yeah, these Tony out, May, yeah, just these dudes picking on me, but, you know, I held my own, and everything's good, just ice please, thank you. Walks out because he was fiddling with a new web shooters from Tony Stark, and it's like displaying a laser, and it just goes up onto the ceiling after Aunt May leaves, and he's like, oh whoa, and it pans up, and it's just the classic Spider-Man 1960s logo that he would flash at criminals and stuff, and they're really, like, banking on 1960s Spider-Man look, and that is really cool. So, cool tease for Spider-Man in the coming year. Can't wait to see him. Tom Holland's going to be amazing. I just know it. I have such faith in him and Marvel Studios as I have throughout since I saw his first Iron Man. So, this movie was amazing. Again, 4 stars. Loved it. Go check it out. I do intend on seeing it at least one more time in the theaters before it's gone. And if you can see it in IMAX 3D, I know maybe you might not be a fan of 3D, some people aren't, but if you can get past it, and make sure you, like, sit in I heard people, at least in Japan, didn't think it looked very good from, like, the sides, so get there early, get a good seat in the middle, good viewing in IMAX 3D, you'll love the airport fight, it's going to be amazing, I guarantee it. So, that's it for today, guys. If you like the review I have just made very consistently, with such little breaths, I hope. Be sure to hit that like button. It really goes a long way that you enjoy these, and it really inspires me to help make more. You can share this around if you want, but, you know, if you don't want to just, like, share to your Facebook friends this 17-year-old talking about superheroes, that's completely understandable. So, but if you do, it's greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed, I highly recommend you do so. I'm a pretty chill guy. I'm pretty cool, I think. I'm not cool at all. Look at this. Look at this. Look at these. Okay, so yeah, if you want to check me out on social media, that's in the description. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Pretty active on all three. So that's it, guys. I hope you have a great day. May the Force be with you. Always.